And then hopefully everybody can see or hear us because, technical difficulties abound. Stupid internet audio. So if anyone is listening and is in chat, if they can give us a quick thumbs up, that would be awesome. And I'm going to assume that we are good. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today for our one-shot of Punkapocalyptic by Robert Schwab. For those of you who are not familiar with this game, it is run off of the Shadow of the Demon Lord rule set, which is like a hacked up, brutalized, basic version of Dungeons and Dragons, so it is a little bit better than Dungeons and Dragons. It's not Dungeons and Dragons, that is all that matters.
Shots fired.
Not that I hate Dungeons and Dragons, but I don't like Dungeons and Dragons. But you know what, I'm going to get past that because in the next month or two, I may run a one-shot of D&D on here because I have some books that I want to play. And that is like the only way that I'm probably going to get to play them is by doing it on here because my kids don't want to play with me. It's like I'm not cool or something. Am I trying to get them to play a RPG? They're 14-year-old girls. No. Alright, so that rant is done. So Punkapocalyptic is, in my eyes, like Borderlands, but cranked up to fucking 12. It is vulgar, it's violent, it is... you read the book, and Mephisto is saying, "Why is it yelling at me?" I'll go through some of the text in a minute here as to some of the ways that this is worded, but it's a very light-hearted post-apocalyptic system. Using a pretty basic rule set, so your level of entry into the game itself is very low. Character creation, while I did not do any of it myself, I put that burden on the players. It looks like it's rather quick. You choose some numbers, you make some rolls. There's a whole shit ton of fucking tables in this thing. It is full of tables. You got stuff for mutations, for personality, for your looks, for your age, for... different backgrounds for each of the character archetypes. There's fanatics, there are scum, there's a few other archetypes. I cannot remember what they are. But when we go through the intros with the players, I'll get them to let us know what they're playing. So... as I said before, good day and welcome to our one-shot of Punkapocalyptic by Foxfyre Studios. You may catch that I am not saying another name in there. I am kind of separating this off into a different direction. So, typically our Learn to Play series is aimed at players who want to sell a game to their GM or for their GMs to want to sell a game to their players. And while we're not using this as an actual Learn to Play game, this is a one-shot using the adventure that is in the book itself. So if you're curious at all... Oh, shit. Sorry. I always forget to freaking record this. Alright, we're recording. I'm sorry about that for those who are listening in live. I'm not going to go through all that ramble I did before. I'll probably go through it a little bit before we actually start the game. But I want to welcome everybody who is tuning in now, whether you're watching live on Twitch or whether you're watching a little bit later on down the road on YouTube. Welcome to our one-shot of Punkapocalyptic, which is created by Robert Schwab and Schwab Entertainment, and it is being run by us here on Foxfyre Studios. Typically, we run our games to try and use this as a form of edutainment for players and GMs if they want to try and sell it to the other people in their group. You get bored playing that game that won't be named, and you want to try something else. Well, here's a perfect way to do it. Drop this video in front of their faces and get them to watch it. So today we're going to be playing Punkapocalyptic. It is the only session that we've got running right now for this one. What we typically do is we would have a series on a game broken down into roughly about 3 episodes. First episode would be a character creation episode. Second and third would be actual in-game play, going through an adventure, a little bit slower than what we normally would, stepping through the rules as they come into play. But, as I said, since this is one shot, we're just going to get into it, we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to have a fucking blast when we do it. I have to let everybody know that this show might not be suitable for some younger viewers, so viewer discretion is advised. There will be swearing, there will be violence, there won't be any gratuitous nudity or any kind of scenes that we know to be in, we'll say, poor taste. One of the things that I pride myself about this channel is we respect everybody that we play with, and we basically expect the same from each other as we would want in our own games at our own tables. We do not deal with scenes of sexual violence. We do not deal with scenes of... I need to get this written down too for next time. We don't go into racial hatred, gender hatred, any of that kind of stuff. We try and keep it a little bit, I don't know, more civil around here, because games are for everyone, and I want to make sure that everyone who's here watching and playing have a fantastic time, because I want you all to come back next week. So, that being said, if you're watching live on Twitch, you will see, let's see, where is my Twitch channel? Okay, so you will see a little bit up this way, no, this way or down below, that there is a heart. If that heart is not full, it's wrong. As we've learned in our previous games in our childhood, empty hearts are bad. We want to fill that heart up. So click that heart, follow the channel. Next time when we go live, which should be actually on Thursday coming up, you will get a notification and be able to tune in if you have the time. As well, if you go to... Oh shit, I'm missing that. I will have a link later on for the YouTube channel. If you go there later on, hit subscribe. Everything that we can do to spread the word of our channel helps this out, helps all the games that are not that game, which shall not be mentioned because I don't run those games yet. Okay, so I think the horse is dead. Alright, so any questions before we start? From chat, from the players? Everyone has their character sheets. Everyone knows how to run Fantasy Grounds, which is what we're using for our dice rolling here. Everyone who wants...
I don't actually know how to use Fantasy Grounds. I've never used it before. I've just watched, like, the Matt Colville video, so...
Okay, so the easiest way to do it, since Punkapocalyptic is run on Shadow of the Demon Lord, all we're going to need for this game are D20s and D6s. So all we got to do when we're doing a test is roll a D20. So all you have to do is pick it up with either a left click and drop it into the chat pane, or right click it once and you can pull up a whole bunch of other different quantities of the die. So like if you need 3d6 to deal with the banes or the boons that we deal with, right click on the d6, click 3 times and drop that in the chat. And then we would add that to our d20 that we roll. Excellent, just like that. So yeah, we had a question in the chat from Elaine. Are you using pre-gens? We are not. I tried to find some, but I could not. So I got the players to make their own over the last day or two.
The very last minute in my case.
Yes.
Like.
So I did most of it last night. Finished it today.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's really quick. Within 15 minutes, you have a character. Yeah. So if you have a GM that kills you off for whatever reason, you're not spending an entire day thinking about a new character with their backstory, because that's all done up through the roll. So it's kind of nice to be able to have a quick entrance to the game. So
I feel like this is one of those games that's designed for that. That's designed to have characters just die a lot.
We shall see. It is never my intention to outright kill a player, but I mean, if you walk into things, it's not my fault.
Doing the Lisa Bart Simpson thing, where just punching at the air and kicking towards each other.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go around our digital table here, clockwise, starting with Gwen. I will get you to introduce yourself and your character. Give a shout out for anything that you have on the go, anywhere we can find you, social media-wise, that sort of thing. And go.
Alright, is it me first?
Yes.
Okay. I will have video eventually. My name is Gwen. I'm Confusion on Discord and Utter Confusion most places like Twitch, RPGNet, Twitter. My Twitter is at a string of characters, which is like just random. And I don't really do much social media stuff. This is my first time being on a live play stream, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, good. Thanks for inviting me on.
No, thank you for joining us. Is it bad to say that I'm so many people's firsts?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, within context, but...
In context, yes.
Alright, so next we will move over to Dylan.
Hey everyone, this isn't my first online role-playing session, but Charlotte, in this case, you convinced me to do something that I said I would never do again, which is do some online gaming. I'm Pyre Automata on Twitter. I don't really have anything special going on. Just looking forward to traipsing through an imaginary apocalypse for a change.
Yeah, because our real one right now fucking sucks.
Oh yeah. Man, there's not even one rad monster or anything. Like,
I haven't leveled up once.
Oh, I don't know. We have kids running around the neighborhood.
All the cyberpunk dystopia, but without any of the cool cyber.
Without the cool stuff, yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, rip off. I want my money back.
Yep.
Okay, and then on to Mr. Mephisto.
I am Mr. Mephisto. I have a podcast. Actually, I do live on Twitch here at Mr._Mephisto. That's very Age of Sigmar and nerd adjacent focused. So, and then I've been running Soulbound every Friday night as well. Play a bunch of RPGs, bunch of video games, that sort of thing. But yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I guess it's been about a month now, hasn't it, that you had myself, Katie, and Monica Specca on talking about some RPG stuff, which was an entertaining time.
Yeah, it's really cool. And Monica, really knows her stuff, too, so it was really, awesome to have her kind of go through her process. And then, that perspective of you as the GM, and then we had Katie, who does comedy, and she's played in my games for a long time, so she's familiar with my oddities and weirdness as a GM. So that was I'm the GM who very much likes to turn everything up to 11 and my players way too much. So my adventures tend to go off the tracks really easily. So it's really I'm looking forward to taking your one shot off the tracks tonight.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. If any game can go off the rails, it's this one here. Sorry, I was just tweaking my settings around.
Too much of a serene backdrop there.
Yep. Gotta really get into it. Make it look like I am there. And you know what? Just dicking around with the stupid freaking chroma key on this is a pain in the ass sometimes. But you know what? That is good for now. Okay, and for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time and are not familiar with me, my name is Charlotte. I am able to be found on so many places on the internet as Foxfyre22. I have a website called foxfirestudios.com, and that is studios with an S at the end, not just studio, because some fucking asshole went and swiped that one. Fuck, I'm pissed off about that. Rude. So on my channel, I run games in an effort to teach people how to play games and to be able to run as many games as I can, because that's the only way that I get to play games that I want to try. This is a little bit self-serving, but so be it. I have done one-shots on here. I have done learn to play games on here. I have had interviews on here. A few weeks back, we had Emmett Byrne from Cubicle 7 talk about his new Age of Sigmar game. I had a one-shot of Green Ronin's Blue Rose with some of the Green Ronin's folks on there with Joe Carricker GMing. I've got him coming on next Thursday at 6 p.m. PST for an interview. I am sorry to those of you who are going to be sleeping at the time, but you can check it out the next day or the day after on YouTube. Next game we have coming up is going to be a one-shot of Mithras, which is going to be done by one of our previous players on Wrath and Glory. And following that up is going to be a 2-game session of Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition, going through the starter set, which I am excited to get into. And then after that, I've got nothing solid in the schedule, I don't think, so I'll have to start getting that populated, I think. What do I have on the schedule? Oh yeah, July 18th, going to do a one-shot of Monster of the Week. So if that's a game that you want to try out, or even just play, throw your name in the application on our Discord, and we will see what we can do. I cannot make any promises. There's always more people interested than what we can actually get on the stream. So, that being said, like I was saying, Punkapocalyptic is a, oops, I broke shit. There. Punkapocalyptic is a Shadow of the Demon Lord system game based on a post-apocalyptic world where nothing but the fucking assholes survived. Everybody in this game's an asshole. Where is...
Do they specify whether it's like North America or if it's like kind of like in Borderlands, if it's its like own world?
It is typically described as North America, I think. I think there's a map that kind of looks like our continent. I mean, some places have been made up, and this is a little bit after the apocalypse has happened, so new little settlements have popped up. There is... Let's see if I can find a quick list of some of the cities. Actually, it doesn't matter.
Did this have a tie-in with a graphic novel series of some kind?
It's tied in with a miniature skirmish war game by the same name. Punkapocalyptic looks to be a popular miniature war game down in South America. A few of the countries there are where I find a lot of the information coming from. I kind of want the miniatures because the miniatures are equal to what we have on the background and some of the other ones throughout the book. The art is great. It's your normal tongue-in-cheek, not taking itself seriously kind of art.
Got a real whimsy to it. I think,
Yeah,
that I dig.
And by the way that things are set up, it looks like it's pretty good for one-shots, going on quick missions. You want to have like one session off every 4 or 5 to play something different to tone down the seriousness of some of your other campaigns. This may be the way to go. Alright, so let's just go in and figure out what we gotta do as we go. So as I said before, this is my first time running this kind of system, so I got no fucking clue what I'm doing. Alright, so you are in Shittown. How you got here is up to you. Whether you got here the day before just looking for a place to bed down, or you're looking for work, trying to make sure you can fill your belly the next day. Whichever. But Shittown occupies a ruined neighborhood in a suburb of... Sorry, I'm just moving my shit around. Where'd it go? Alright, so yeah, in a suburb of a burned down and utterly wrecked city. We'll call that city Edmonton because I hate this fucking place. Some assholes have been squatting in a few old houses with vinyl siding hanging off the sides to show rotting particle board underneath. The roofs are pocked with holes, windows broken out, and garbage strewn everywhere, so it sounds like Sherwood Park. If any of you are familiar with this area, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's anything but a town, but it is every bit as terrible as its name suggests. The good people of Shittown woke up to discover that 2 of their citizens are dead, having been stabbed to death. Yeah, that kind of does it to someone. A third citizen, Pinkus Dinkus, has vanished along with several cans of baked beans.
That
One of Shittown's
son of a
few
gun.
luxuries. I know. Don't get me wrong. I like a can of baked beans every now and then with some buttered toast. Even if the toast has Marmite on it, makes it just a little bit better. The Shittowners have looked everywhere for him, but can't seem to find him. This is where you, the players, come in. In exchange for tracking down Pinkus Dinkus, the Shittowners offer to... Yeah, sorry. The wording on this is really... bad.
Yeah, well... Why am I not surprised?
You know, I am not used to swearing this much. I'm the kind of person that tells everyone else to watch their fucking language. Yeah, so in exchange for tracking down Pinkus Dinkus, the Shittowners offer to hand over a bag of bullets. 2 bullets per character, to be precise. Assuming the players accept the mission, which you will because I'm railroading the shit out of this, you can get started. You will finish when you track the bastard down and bring him back for a little bit of wasteland justice. Alright, so you are in this little shit town, for lack of a better name. There are about 4 or 5 shitty-looking ragtag houses all thrown up. There's about 12 to 14 people that you can see milling about. It's not as if each family has their own house. There's a few communal sleeping areas, eating areas. There's a big fire pit in the middle where you can smell some rancid meat being cooked over the fire. When you look at it, it doesn't look like anything that you've seen before. Yeah, I'm going to try and paint a lovely scenario here. Yeah, so you've had some of the Shittowners come up to you and ask you if you can track down this asshole for stabbing the other guys.
Hard to turn down 2 bullets.
Oh, I know.
I mean, come on.
So, that being said,
Kill 2
I'm-
people with that.
Maybe more if they line up.
yep.
And then those people have bullets, and then you use
Yes.
those bullets to kill more people.
How big are these bullets?
It's a bullet pyramid scheme, and I love it.
Okay, actually, Gwen, could I get you to turn your mic up just a little bit, if possible? You might have to do that in the Zoom settings and stuff.
Yeah, I already turned it up. I already turned it up all the way in the Zoom settings.
That's better right there.
I just brought it closer. So yeah, I'm just gonna I'll just move it a little closer.
Perfect. Yeah, so when you look at these people, they display all the qualities you might expect from people living in a wasteland. Their clothing is holey and torn in places. Some of them have patches, others do not. The odd person you see has a mutation, because that's totally common in the near apocalyptical future. Yeah, so I'll turn.
Is there like a town representative? Has someone come up to speak to us directly, or is it just like a couple of people?
By looking around, you would see this one fellow wearing a top hat that people tend to defer to. Top hat, no shirt, wandering around with a grinder. Very official-like.
Mighty fine hat.
Right, so I will leave it up to you three now
Now-
to start making your way through this.
What do you mean when you say grinder?
Like a die grinder, an electric die grinder. But in
Okay.
place of the grinding disc, he has a it's like a saw blades attached onto it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So we're like in the Hills Have Eyes territory now.
I've never seen it.
That seems unsafe.
I mean, it can't be that bad. You have to wonder to yourself where the electricity's coming from to power it.
True.
All you gotta do is
Not
run
bad.
far enough so the battery power runs out.
I'm going to wander up to Mr. Top Hat and I say, hey, buddy, old pal, this Dinkus guy that you're sending us after and the guys he killed, were they all bunking together? Is there anyone else who knew him?
Well,
Living
first
around here?
off, I'm not your buddy, pal.
Not your pal, guy.
I hear you, champ, but in that steampunk rig of yours, I figure Buddy's probably a trade-up for you. So why don't you just spill the beans so we can go fetch the beans?
Sorry, what was your question?
Who else knows this guy? Are we just running out into the wasteland looking for your guy, or was there someone who knew him here who might know where he was headed?
Well, there was Crawfish and Benny. They knew him. But they're dead now. They're just in that building back there. We didn't think it was good to move them just yet. See if we could find some evidence to see what the hell went on. But you know what? Nobody liked them much. They're a bunch of fucking assholes. So, you know what? Maybe this guy did us a favor. But that's not here or there. We got rules to follow. As however loose they may be, they are still our rules. He goes on to tell you that they came to town about a week prior. Some of the other settlers in the area spent a little bit of time with them. He explains that one of the women there was getting close to Pincus. Her name is Mally. He points her out. She is sitting on the deck of one of the houses, just kind of drawing images in the dirt on the ground.
Did Pincus have any distinguishing features? What might help us recognize him?
No, out of all the people here, he was actually one of the most, I don't know how to word this, unmarred individuals that were to come into town. Which, was kind of surprising for a junker, being a junker, getting into real tight spaces, tend to get cut up, lose fingers and limbs to gangrene when the rot sets in. So, when he was explaining that, he kind of sounded a little bit apprehensive about that being what he actually did. We'll say that he was wearing a green shirt at the time with red pants that were ripped off at the knees.
You're, go ahead.
I was going to wander over to the bottom of the building under where Mally is sitting and shout up, "Hey, buddy, got a minute to talk about your little friend, Pincus?"
I'll follow.
Yeah, I reckon I do. And she'll come on down and stand in front of you.
Look, I don't want to get all tired, do too much cardio chasing after Pincus. So if you can just tell me where you think he headed, that would be just fantastic. Did he ever talk about a place nearby where he thought he'd go next?
He'd never really mentioned this. This was completely out of character for him. Like, obviously I didn't know him that well, but he seemed like a real nice fella. I don't know where he could have gone after this. One morning, this morning we woke up, and he was gone. These two fellows were dead, and there was a bunch of beans missing from the kitchen, so I don't know. I don't know what else I can tell you. I don't know. I would just like it if he came back and if he did not do this. I mean, as you can see looking around, there's not a lot of fine fellas to choose from. So when a guy like Pincus comes around, you got to be quick.
Fair enough. Shall we go check out those bodies?
Seems a good place to start.
Buddies. Oh, bodies.
Oh, there's somebody's buddies.
I mean, buddies.
Probably.
Buddies.
Probably.
This whole world is about the slow transformation of buddies into bodies.
Oh, yeah. How profound.
Yeah, so you would make it to the house very quickly and head into the room where you're told the bodies are. Nothing's been done with the bodies yet. They've left them both sitting on the shredded air mattress where they were found in the morning. One fella who matches the description of Crawfish, he's been stabbed about 6 times. And his buddy beside him, Benny, has been stabbed what looks to be around 10. There's a lot of blood and a bloody handprint left on the door frame to their room. Droplets lead out of the room, down the hall, and out the front door, so from where you came.
Okay, let me through. I used to be a tattoo artist. And I have, what is this? A specialty in medicine. So, figure, first aid if you did tattoos in a time period like this. So, like, I'll take, like, a closer look at the bodies. They seem to be stabbed by, like, the same, weapon. Is it 2 different, like, stabby implements? Like,
Nah, it looks like it came from the same kind of weapon.
okay. Does it look like they were killed in their sleep, or were there was a struggle or a scuffle?
I mean, there was a little bit of flailing around as they were woken up from being stabbed, assumed. Like, there's not a lot of stuff flung around. They're both on the shredded air mattress. The only thing else that's really in the room is another sleeping area, which you were told Pincus was sleeping in as well. So they were all in the same room.
I'm gonna rifle for their pockets for any clues. Quote unquote clues.
Clues or stuff.
Things
Anything.
of value.
Anything can be a clue.
Right. If you use your imagination.
Yeah, you root through their pockets, and there's really not much there. There's some lint. There's maybe a button.
Nice. Score.
There is a score candy wrapper in one of them.
Score. I'd say as I hold up the score candy bar wrapper. I'll take the button. Could be a clue.
I reckon I'll toss Pincus's little sleeping area. Mostly looking for, stray protein. But if I find something else, that'd be all to the good.
Yeah, so you go over to his area, and it looks like somebody has slept in it, and they got up. They didn't bother making the bed, because assholes. Always make the bed. Actually, no, don't make the bed.
You're just gonna get back in it and wreck it anyway.
Exactly. And you know what? There is some, I'm not sure if it's really scientific, there are some benefits to not making your bed. Anyway, beside his bed, there's an empty 55-gallon drum. Kind of smells a little bit like gassy when you take the lid off. There's a few more candy bar wrappers that are in his little air mattress or sleeping bag area, whatever they would have at this point. And you find a torn picture of an old lady. So living large.
Torn picture, like, there are a lot of fingerprints and stuff on it. Does it look like a keepsake or a memento, or just like he was using this to stop his magazines rattling?
Yeah, we'll say that the edges are well worn from looking at it. It looks it would look like a, can't remember what the term is, but let's say it's like a Polaroid, but a little bit more sepia toned. It could be his grandmother, it could be his mother, it could be a picture from a magazine. You know, because magazines had Polaroid pictures.
All right, I'll toss it into my poncho just in case.
Yeah, but aside from that, that's basically all you're able to come up with.
Any of the score wrappers still have candy in them?
You know, one of them might have just a little piece of chocolate still sticking to it.
Nice. I'm going to save it for later.
So this guy gets up. He stabs his buddies to death. He goes to the communal kitchen and steals a bunch of beans from the community and then heads out.
That sounds about right.
You mentioned like the gasoline smell. Do we smell it anywhere else in here?
No.
Okay. Did you see vehicle treads outside or anything along those lines?
Are you asking me or the other players?
The players in general.
I'll take a look. Sure. Are there, like, do I have to make a roll for this? Tracking?
No. The ground itself is pretty soft in some areas. All that you really see are footprints and some droplets of blood.
There's some prints. Looks like he took a hit.
That'll show him for hogging all the candy. What kind of an asshole does that?
It's not just the blood from his weapon or whatever?
It could be. I think it'd be a little hard to tell. Here, you know what? Because this really won't affect things too much, let's try and get our first roll. So, where are your character sheets? Because we would be looking at something along the lines of medicine to determine whether the drops were like cast off as he was swinging a knife down, or if they were just dripping as he was walking. Sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay, so from what I recall from reading through this, the way that our tests work are you are going against a base 10. So you're going to roll your d20, add a modifier to that roll, and you have to get above 10 to succeed.
Okay. Which attribute is this? Which, like?
Let's use brains.
Brains? Alright, I've got 10. So no modifier?
Correct.
So I'm getting 11 total.
Awesome. Alright, so
I'm way out of my depth here.
two of you are able to see that what you'd expect the blood drops to look like if they were just falling from a wound on a body. They're not overly large. We'll say maybe, I don't know, centimeter and a half in diameter as they hit the ground. But they've been there for a few hours now. They're discoloring, turning a little bit more of a dark red. Yeah, so as you all come out and start looking at this blood, there's this fella off to the side who's looking at you all shifty-eyed, like... Fucking shifty-eyed bastards, they're everywhere.
Where's this person?
He's off to your right.
I narrow my eyes on him. Just suspiciously. / intimidatingly.
I'll adjust the collar on my coat. I have a very fine pair of clothes. It says right here on my character sheet. I'd imagine I look somewhere between like El Mariachi and Daft Punk. um, so I like adjust my my coat and walk over towards this person giving us the side eye. You see something?
Are all of you familiar with Borderlands?
Of course.
I'm not.
Dimly.
Okay, so Andrew will get this. I can't remember what the character's name is. He is the one that's always behind the door that you pay the iridium to. So that's what, for anyone else who's watching and is familiar, that's what he sounds like. So you walk up to him, you're looking at him. He's like, "What you want?"
You see something last night or early this morning?
I ain't seen nothing.
I got a button here that might persuade you to be more honest with me.
Just a button. One button. You know what? Look at this shirt. I got 5 buttons. 1 button.
It looks like a man with a fashion sense such as you could really benefit from a 6th button. It would really tie the ensemble together.
And you're trying to talk to him, and you get distracted every once in a while because this guy has bad flatulence.
Oh no.
And he just breaks wind all the time.
I'm going to loom up over Murdoch's shoulder and say, how about we sweeten the deal? A button and 2 fully functioning hands, motherfucker. And I wave my hammer around. I have a ball-peen hammer on a long piece of carpenter's string around my neck. And I wave it around for emphasis. Button and hands. Button and hands.
That is a pretty sweet deal.
Fuck. I ain't seen nothing. You got nothing on me. I can't tell you anything, but you know what? If you want to give me that button so bad, I will take that button.
No. This is for talkers, not farters. I put it in my pocket.
And as you say that, he lets one go again. Now, you know what? The only thing I can tell you is that I went into the kitchen this morning. I was looking for beans, and there were no beans. I'm sure that you fine folk know what it's like to not have beans.
I'm not sure you know what it's like to not have them, and I'd like wave in front of my face.
You know, I do not want to live in a world where I have to know what that is like. Thank you very much.
Hey, wait a minute, Gaseous. You said the beans were gone before this guy went out of camp, or?
Well, no, I woke up, I went in there to get some beans for breakfast, and they were all gone, and then I heard a scream from the other house. I went over, and then there was those 2 assholes that were stabbed to death, and Pincus was gone, and beans were gone, and fucking everything was gone. But I got my buttons.
Does he... Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to huddle in with my 2 colleagues here and say, I don't want to walk all over the wasteland looking for this motherfucker. There's got to be some smart way to do this.
If he got hurt, he might not have got very far. And maybe there's enough blood to follow.
Where did he go, even?
Shrug. I'm new in town. Got chased out the last one.
I look around and say, actually, this town's kind of an upgrade. I was living in Piss Town, just down the road. And, yeah, this place is better. But I still don't know where the hell he would run to from here. He's got enough food to go anywhere. I toe at the blood trail looking a little confused and say, is there enough to follow?
Yeah, there would be.
Oh. I'm gonna throw the button at the flatulent person and keep the change.
Well, that is too kind, too kind. Thank you very much. Fucking asshole. Yeah, so
Alright,
at that
buddy.
he takes his leave, he kind of walks away a little bit and looks back and kind of glares at the three a little bit and then heads into one of the houses. And as you can hear with each step,
Try to follow the blood then, huh? Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, you're able to follow the blood trail, and you can follow it as it starts heading out of this poor excuse of a village. It takes you to the north of the town. There's a path in some longer grasses. The drops are getting a little bit more spaced out the further you go. But they are still showing up with some frequency.
Yeah, looks like this man needed a tattoo artist.
And it's a straight line, Charlotte, roughly, like he's heading with a purpose in a direction, or he's just wandering around.
He's following a path that's pretty linear through this grassy area. And you follow it for a little bit more. After about a quarter mile, whatever that is in real-world metrics, the tracks lead into a clearing. So it looks like the grass around here has been a little bit more cultivated. Something might be eating it. But in the center of this area, you see the rotting remains of an old Volkswagen Beetle. There's not much left to it. There's the frame, there's the odd little metal panel. The engine has been taken out, the steering handle's gone, the steering wheel is gone. The doors are missing. The back seat has been taken out. It's a shadow of its former glory.
Does it look like anybody's been living in there?
Yeah, when you walk up, you see that that there have been many people over many years that have taken shelter in this vehicle. You could see a little bit more of the blood that's puddled in or on the floor a little bit in the back seat, and upon looking into the back a little bit more closely, you find a sack.
Ooh. What's in the sack?
So as you reach in and grab the sack, you make an attempt the first time, but as you reach in, the odor that comes, that's just like sitting in the shell of this vehicle, is overpowering, and it makes you draw back for a second.
Oh no.
Makes you catch your breath and take a deeper breath and move in, grab the sack and pull it out, and in it is 3 salvage. Now, for those who are not familiar with this game, there are tables everywhere, and I think one of those tables is a salvage table. So if anyone has that handy in the quick starts, which you all have, I will get you to roll. You can roll individually, each for your own piece of salvage if you want, or one of you can keep it for all yourselves.
Sure.
And
I'm good with dividing it up. I think that's fine.
Mighty kind of you.
I don't see the table.
It says salvage.
What page is that on?
40.
I got a...
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's 40, looks like... Why doesn't it just go...
Yeah, it says...
Yeah, I clicked on salvage in the table of content, and it just does not go directly to salvage.
I'm on 41 is where salvage is talked about. Much of the shit littering the wasteland is garbage. Useless scraps of rusting, ruined and worthless junk, such as broken computers, rotting tires, weird mechanical doodads, spools of wire, and other stuff that once had a purpose other than filling the landfills. Sometimes, though, there's something useful in all that junk. Something you can use to build a new device or upgrade something you've already picked up. These useful bits are salvage. I don't know if there's like an actual table. I think it's just might be a resource.
Yeah, I might have a table
it's probably in the full rules.
Oh.
Let's go to a whole lot of stuff. Chapter 4. Commodities. Salvage. Yeah, you might be right. There might not be anything. I thought there was like a salvage table or something. I'm disappointed now. I wanted tables and tables of absolute garbage.
Yeah. This game definitely has that early 90s energy. Yeah. Just tables everywhere.
Alright, so, think about a piece of crap garbage and you have it.
Nice.
Nice. Awesome.
Spool of wire for you, an old rubber boot sole for you, and...
Can I have a bubble head?
Yes. Just the head, though. No body. No spring. Just the head. From the Fallout Boy. It's his head.
Nice.
I'm saving that boot sole. I'm gonna need that later.
Yeah, old midnight snack.
Boil it.
Charlotte, you said there was pooled blood in here, like you took a rest?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, he looks like he spent the night resting here, or some time at the very least.
I guess the most reasonable thing to do is just keep following the road in the direction he was heading.
Is there like a trunk, like a hatch still on the trunk, or is that like empty?
That'll be missing.
Okay.
That was the first thing to go.
Man, those will make good sledding.
Yeah, so you see the puddle of blood. There was the trail of blood that was kind of going in, and then it looks like something happened, and the blood, we'll say the blood flow, the blood drops increased on the way out, and you would also notice a slight smudged bloody handprint on one of the door frames. So just like the fingers itself, and just kind of push up there. So whether he pulled himself out or kind of leaned in or whatever the case was. So yeah, you start looking around to see where this blood trail is going again. And you notice that there are 3 paths that lead away from this clearing from where the blood could go. They look more like breaks in the underbush more than paths, so it's not as if it's a well-worn trail too much. One heads off to the southwest, another to the northeast, and the last to the east itself. All 3 look like either something large or numerous created them. So it could have been like a pack of animals making them as they go through, deer as they move through the bush trying to search for food. Something along those lines.
And we've been traveling mostly north since we left Shittown.
Yes.
I guess that means probably the southwest one he wouldn't have gone down, right? Because whatever's to the southwest, he could have just got there easier by going a different direction out of town.
Due east is the way to go. Gonna crouch down in front of like the east path and look for blood or anything like that on the grass or the brush, whatever's there. Drag marks or footprints, anything that might suggest he went this way.
Sorry, Just one sec, gotta familiarize myself with this part of it. Yeah, this path looks like it's been there the longest. The brush and whatnot has been pushed down and is starting to really get worked into the ground. You see some footprints, but you don't see any blood going down this way.
Guess I'll check one of the, just like the next closest path, moving along, see if there's any blood.
There's a northeast, right?
Yeah.
Let's try that one.
Logical.
Yeah, proceed.
Yeah, so you go and look at the northeast path, and this path looks like it's been stirred up rather recently, within the last 24 hours. It looks like there's drag marks on the ground as well. You don't see really any blood at this point. Just that it has been stirred up recently. The odd time, like if you look down a few feet, you will notice that there's some dog prints as well, mixed in with
Oh, go ahead.
mixed in with like the human footprints.
Think you got dragged off by something?
Maybe. Looked like there was some kind of scuffle in this around this bug, right?
And then for posterity's sake, might as well just check the last path.
Did anybody say Lucas had a dog?
I mean, a dog is a lot of protein.
Gotta stay strong.
It's also a lot of teeth.
And that's assuming it's not a rad dog. Seen them with 4 heads.
Oh, I would assume that everything in this world is rad something. Whether
Rad
it's just
bees.
fucking rad or a rad wolf or...
Why is there not a t-shirt saying the apocalypse, it's totally rad?
There you go.
Now's your
Okay,
opportunity.
I gotta let my dog out the room real quick. Sorry.
Sure.
So the one that was to the southwest, if we check that one, what does it look like?
Okay, so I'll just wait till Andrew's back, and then we'll go through that. And
Okay.
he's back. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah,
the southwest path. You could see the dog's footprints more clearly here. Like it has been going back and forth down this path, more so than any of the others. Off to the side of the path, you see like some brambles in the underbrush, and you could see some fur that has been caught up on it and ripped out.
Which way are you thinking we should go? I addressed the party.
We could spin a bottle.
I'd take a look at that fur. Can I discern anything about it? It's looked like something like dog-like or.
Yeah, you would recognize it as like a wolf's fur. As wolves are a little bit more prominent now in this era than what domesticated dogs are. That being said, education isn't the greatest, so everything that has 4 legs and barks might be considered a wolf.
We're in a clearing with some trees here, right?
There are some trees off to the northeast.
Well, buddies, I say northeast. We got dog tracks southwest and northeast. And we also got drag marks northeast. So, even though none of them have blood, I reckon northeast is the most likely.
I'm with you.
Yeah, it looks like the way to go.
Alright, so as you make your way down the northeast path, roughly about, we'll say about 100, 150 meters, you come across a small little area in the path that looks like it's been stirred up some more. Some of the brush has been pushed down along the sides. There's like divots almost in the dirt, in the mud area. In the dirt. That would look like a scuffle kind of went on, and then you see just a little bit of blood on the ground off to the side, closer to the edge where the dirt meets the brush. And then you see more footprints as well, which look roughly humanoid.
Humanoid footprints this time. Now, do we have to bring Mr. Pincus back alive?
That's up to you.
My understanding that they wanted to dish out some kind of justice or retribution, but shrug.
I mean, if he's dead already, Wasteland justice has been served.
Technically correct is the best kind of correct.
I mean, they'll probably want to bring him back to make a judicial pinata out of. My understanding is that you stuff the convict full of justice, and then the community gathers.
And beats the shit out of them?
Yeah, until the justice falls out.
What does this justice look like?
I believe the precedent so far is score candy wrappers.
True.
Well, the more of these
I've
dogs
seen
than...
worse legal systems.
Right. The more dogs and blood I see, the more I want to be back in shit town by nightfall. Come on, buddies. Let's pick up the pace. My cardio window is shrinking.
Alright,
let's
go.
Yeah, so you continue on down the path. The brushy area kind of goes into a little bit more of a treed area, like a forest. Some of the trees look all twisted and gnarled. Some have leaves, some don't. You go in, the bugs are kind of biting at you. These big-ass mosquitoes, which are easy to move out of the way of because they're like 4 times the size of our normal mosquitoes, so easy to hit, easy to avoid. As you keep on walking down, probably about roughly another whatever quarter mile is in real-world measurements, you see some more fresh blood. And the trees start to open up into another opening. In this opening, you see a farmhouse.
Think he's holed up in there?
Seems like a good place. Alright, just in case, how do you want to approach this?
I'm gonna like flick out my switchblade. Violently. No. No. Is there any like window that like could sneak up to and like look in or
There are openings in the walls. Some of them are boarded over, ratty pieces of wood nailed up in an X or trying to cover it. So like you have a few kind of going this way with the odd one that's crooked and very haphazardly done. 1 or 2 is hanging by a single nail. There are openings that you would be able to peek into.
All right, I'm gonna like maybe crouch and try to like sneak up to one of these openings.
Sure.
Should I roll something?
Hey, Mephisto, you want me to go up and knock on the front door? If there's a buddy in there, maybe I can distract him.
Well, he'd try and run, if maybe, and I'm not much for cardio. Tends to
All right, I'll just stay here till you all signal.
I figure we should try and cover all the exits.
Ooh, I like that. That's smart.
Alright, so I'll go around back.
I'll stick with Chella.
All right, so who's going where?
Well, I'm going around the backside.
Kate?
Amrap's gonna stay with Chella.
Okay, so backside as well.
Yeah, and then I guess I'll go to the a opening in the if I can find like a window to look through in the front or one of these boarded segments in like the front or a flank kind of opposite the back.
Sure. Okay, so as you start moving away from the trees itself, you notice that the clearing itself, the trees that are surrounding it, have bones kind of nailed to each of the trees. You see pelvises, you see fingers, you see arm bones, leg bones.
That's bad.
I don't.
And they all say, "Fuck this!" They're going home, and that's the end of the game.
Yeah. Well.
All right. Well, I think we try to like all break in at the same time, right? Like that's how you do it. Take my surprise.
Yeah. Make as much noise as possible.
Yeah, shock and awe.
Are you going to try and sneak up and take a peek inside first?
Yeah, sure, I will.
Yeah, I'll do the sneak, and then we can switch to loud. Or, if I mess up the sneak part, then I just make it look like I was trying to be loud to begin with. What kind of roll is sneaking?
I would say that would be feet.
Okay. I don't think I have a bonus.
I think. Let's take a quick look at that.
I
Punkapocalyptic.
definitely have a bonus to that.
Boom! Super sneaky. Underestimate my sneakiness.
Nice. That's a 10.
Which is a pass. Dylan rolls like I do.
Oh, weird. I somehow have that modifier stuck on it. No, I don't have a modifier. That's a natural one.
I don't think there is any... I'll have to double check that whether there's any criticals or anything in this. I don't think that there is. Let's see.
Casper, go lay down, please.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any kind of critical success or failures, which is kind of cool. Alright, so, yeah, Chella and Murdoch are able to get to where they need to look into the house. And Amrap moves up with Chella, and as he starts poking his head up, his hand just brushes a piece of the board that's covering the upper part of the window, and that board's been there for so long, it breaks off and falls to the ground with a bit of a clatter as it hits the side of the building.
Distraction. I give him the thumbs up.
Yeah, from
Nice.
one end, you see Murdoch in the window across. Yes.
Great distraction.
You start to hear stirring from the inside of the room, and what you're able to see in the room, it's rather dark in there.
I'm going to noisily clatter my way away from Chella and from Murdoch if I can. So, like, now, so that we form, like, 3 points on a triangle. And I say, any buddies inside there? Come on out.
From the inside, you hear, "We're not your buddies."
Oh, everyone's just a buddy you haven't met yet, buddy. Come on out.
Sorry, I'm just quickly reading through this part here. Yeah, so you are looking in, and those of you who are still looking in see that this is what looks to be one big room. You see a pile in the middle of the room starting to move as people move away from the pile, and the pile that you see is just the people all kind of huddled in together. You see them moving away, starting to get their wits about them because they were just having a little bit of a midday nap.
See, it's just a cuddle puddle. Nothing to be scared of.
Oh, the bones must be for insulation then.
It's a goth cuddle puddle.
Yeah, I try to sneak in while they're distracted. Sneak inside the house.
You can't see any way through the current window. It would be the opening itself is too small to try and fit through. You could try and tear off some of the boards and get in that way if you want.
No, I'll just keep going around till I find some way that looks like I could fit through. Or if there's none, then I'll just
Yeah, I would say that Murdoch
I'll figure it out when that happens.
Yeah, looking across the building when you were there, you would see that Murdoch would have been at the doorway window looking in. So he would probably have the only way in or out.
Okay. How big is this building?
Think like a big red barn.
Okay.
So just all the stalls that would have been in there at one point were all taken out. The wood used for other various things over the years. There's shit strewn all over the place on the inside.
This must be a new shit town.
I try to climb it. Try to get up onto the roof. Death from above.
Okay, so let's get you to roll.
Okay.
What do we have on here? What do we think would be good for this one? Muscles?
Like
Pretty muscle speaking. Yeah.
That's going to be feet again, right?
Climbing up? Yeah, well, yeah, we can use feet.
Okay, that's good. I'm better at that. Okay. Feet, rolling. I got a +2, 14.
Nice. Yeah, so you're able to make your way up the building, up the wall. On one side, there was some boards that were nailed there for that express purpose. So yeah, you make your way up onto the roof. Murdoch is at the front door.
Got my switchblade out, like. So it was like, any idea of how many folks were in here?
You would have seen about 3 start to move themselves away from the pile. And then right above you, you see Chella kind of drop her head down and look at you almost like Spider-Man. Because her camera is inverted right now.
Yeah, for some reason, I can't access the video settings. Like, normally Zoom is fine with that because you can rotate. Okay, yeah, just
there it is.
Kicked in. There we go.
Perfect.
And normally I get more of the. Normally it's
immersion ruins.
View. So
Immersion. Yeah.
Maybe that is me. Let's see if I can tweak this a little bit to.
See if I can.
Yeah, I can't get much more. I try and keep people's names on Zoom hidden as much as possible.
I'll just move myself and the camera further apart. That's a little bit better.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah, the full view of the camera is like it's like out to my arms extended. So.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone.
Sorry, just catch up on the reading on this part as well. So yeah, you have what looks to be 3 people on the inside. They are fully awake now. You hear them muttering to themselves about some fucking assholes outside of their door fucking with their shit. It's kind of hard to get any details about what they look like right now because it's a little bit darker on the inside. Are you crowding around the door, or are you...
I'm like off to the side, kind of like the classic, like, back up against the wall. Like, I've got my like switchblade out just in case. And none of them were like, if it's too dark to make out, like if any of them had like a green shirt or red pants. Like,
No, you don't see anything like that.
Okay.
I'm just up on the roof, getting ready to like throw my knife at somebody if they come out.
So Charlotte, it's a big red barn with kind of a front and a back entrance.
Not so much a back entrance. There's some windows back there, but there is a front entrance to it. Let's say that there's a man door off to the right-hand side, which you're at right now. The other part of the door has been kind of nailed and boarded up and patched over the years. Whatever hardware that was on that door for opening the doors and for opening and closing the doors has been long since stripped off and used for other things. So these doors that are still there are just being held up by nails and other bits and pieces of wood.
Okay, so I guess I'm a little off to the side of the door in such a way that someone who is coming out of the door to look for me would be looking away from Murdoch and Chella. So like if Murdoch is off to one side and Chella is above, then I'm off to the other side and making kind of a loud noise. Every now and then I'm rapping on the side of the shed with my hammer and going, "Come on, buddies, just want a quick chat, buddy to buddy."
Sure, yeah, so, yeah, you start to hear more scuffling and moving in there. You hear some rattling of metal bits and whatnot.
they have metal. They're rich. Let's rob them.
Score!
Another score wrapper falls down.
Incredible.
Yeah, so they start to move to the door to be able to go out and see what's going on. You start to hear the door creak open, and so from what I am understanding, AMRAP will be kind of like door opens up, Murdoch would be here, AMRAP would be here. Yeah, so you see the first one come out. It's a male. And then from behind, you hear one of the other ones asking, "What's out there, Cletus? What do you see?" So yeah, you start to see him move out of the door, and he is now looking like straight out. He's oblivious to anyone else to his sides at this point.
I rap on the side of the barn to get his attention.
Yeah, he whips his head off the side. "Oh, what? Fucking assholes are here! Come on!" Like, these guys are switched on. They're used to this shit happening all the fucking time.
Sure, I'm sure this is just pretty standard like scavenger stuff. Like we're gonna machismo at each other for a little bit. I just want to sort of cut to the chase. So I'm not putting my hammer down, but I put my hands up with the hammer and I say, just want to ask a question about a buddy of ours. No need for a big fight, but if you want to bring it, we'll bring it back to you.
Well, we don't know anything about anyone's buddy, but those hands you got there, those look like some nice fucking hands. You know what? There's nothing better than fucking hand meat. Hand meat is the fucking best. How much would you want to part with those hands?
I need these hands.
Need, want, you need them, I want them. I'm sure we could work something else out here.
I got an idea. Why don't you come take them, or try, and when I'm done fucking you and your friends up, then we'll get the story about our buddy out of you. So, come on, Cletus.
Well, I don't know how well this is going to go down. There's 3 of us, and it looks like 1 of you.
Yeah, that's about right. Come on.
Come on, Junior. Come on, Clay. This asshole wants to fucking fight.
Can I, wait to stab the last one that comes through the door? Just right in the back of the neck?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Right at the same time, that Chella tries jumping down from above and stabbing the last guy as well, so Chella hits Murdoch, and it's gonna be awesome.
A comedy of errors.
Yeah.
I don't jump down. I'm just gonna actually throw my knife at the next guy. So.
That will work. So yeah, so the guy in the front, Cletus, calls to his compatriots Junior and Clay, and he makes room for them to come out. So you see them come out. They start to form a bit of a circle around Amrap there, with Cletus kind of moving the furthest out. And then when, we'll say Clay is at the very end. So now you have a door between you and Clay, Murdoch.
Okay. I can slam the door shut and maybe stab him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we get to see how combat works in this
Let's
game.
get to the stabbing.
Alright, so as you see them come out and the light starts to hit them, you notice that... What the hell is going on here? I need to stop fucking around with this cord. You notice that they look like they have been drinking too much contaminated water over the years. They have some mutations going on. They don't look healthy. They are kind of gaunt looking. There's not a lot to them. There is right up here. I gotta find it. Describes them a little bit better than I can right now. Yeah, maybe not. Whatever. I know it's right here somewhere. Okay, so I just gotta pull the... stat block for these guys. And I need my clipping tool. Alright, so these are going to be wretches. Alright, so just gonna pull up the rules for combat quickly. You all have melee weapons, right? Nobody has ranged?
I have a hammer I can throw, but yeah, melee.
I'm gonna throw the knife, so I'm gonna be doing range because I'm slightly better at that.
I'm gonna be stabbing.
Alright, so, okay, so with Shadow of the Demon Lord, The turn economy is a little bit different. You have your fast turns and you have your slow turns. Typically, the players will get to go first. You can pretty much decide amongst yourselves who wants to go when. And then each round has 3 parts. Fast turns, so people who are acting faster than others, they get to go first. Then slow turns, so basically the opposite. Anyone who has a move that's a little bit slower, they will go second. And then there is the end of the round. So once you decide who's going first, and everyone takes their turn, then it is the enemy's turn. Yeah, so just to get a bit of a feel for the tone as to the way that this is written up, you and your teammates can take turns in any order you want. You might go first one round and your buddy goes first the next. If some of you are egotistical shitheads who argue about who gets to sit where at the table or who gets to go when, roll a d6. Whoever rolled the highest number gets to decide who goes first. And then maybe rethink why you always want to be the first before it comes up again. It's a role-playing game, fuck stick, it's not about winning. Keep pulling that shit and maybe the GM will have your enemies go first next time as an object lesson. So. If you want to take a fast turn, you can do one of 2 things on your turn. You can either use an action or you can move up to your speed. One or the other, not both. So in this case, where they are, I wouldn't expect you to have to move too much. They're all within range, so you could all do a fast turn and attack if you want. Slow turns, you can do 2 things on your turn. You can use an action, and you can move up to your speed. So a fast action will let you go first. You can either attack or move, or on a slow turn, you can move and attack. Once everyone has taken their turn, we get to the end of the round. This is where you'll do all the upkeep and maintenance bullshit that you need to do to keep the combat going. So like if you're on fire, you would take your damage at the end of the round. If you're bleeding out and crying for your mama, you'd make all your rolls at that point to stay alive. As with the other parts of the round, the 3 of you can take care of your shit first, and then I'll deal with the NPCs at that point. So, that is pretty straightforward.
I love that it's like, oh, y'all take care of your shit. Like, it just...
Yeah.
So I was reading this part about surprise. Like, would we be able to, like, kind of surprise them since we're both hidden? Since Gwen and I, our characters are both hidden?
Yeah, their attention, as far as they know right now, is all drawn to AMRAP.
Okay.
So what does surprise give us?
It says, when the GM decides a surprise is possible, any who might be surprised must succeed on an eyes roll or become surprised. Whoever is surprised cannot take a turn, fast or slow, during that first round.
Oh, okay. So like 5th edition. Okay.
Okay, so are you both attacking the last guy?
I figure I'm gonna attack the second guy probably.
Sure.
I'll probably attack the next guy to come out.
Okay, so where was surprise?
It's right at under the combat, the battlefield surprise, right above the disposition modifiers table.
I've got
page
the
34.
core
Oh,
book
you
here,
have
so...
like a real book, yeah.
Yeah. Well, digital. I'm still waiting for the core book, which I think we should have in our hands in September.
Now, my archetype ability allows me to take, as a fast turn, I can move and use an action.
Nice.
I can only use it once every 6 rounds, but I can do both. can take basically a slow turn as a fast turn. So.
Awesome. Now,
Yeah, well, it says move into an adjacent area specifically, which I haven't read enough of the rules to know what specifically that means.
yeah, so we won't get into ranges too much in this adventure. I would I don't know either how the movement in this totally goes, but I would be taking I'd be using it with zones, which is a little bit easier to kind of wrap my head around when it comes to theater of the mind. So, like, you would have your long range, your medium range, your short range, and then your close range. So, a movement turn, you would be able to move between, like, say, far and medium, also like far to medium, or medium to close, or close to near. So, if you're in close range, you take that turn and move within striking distance of them.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
All right. So, who wants to go first?
I think probably makes sense for either the person who's attacking the first guy or the last guy to go first. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I think probably last guy first, and then everything kicks
That
off.
way, everything goes. All right. Yeah. So I'll make the stabby. I'm gonna say knife knowing you, buddy, and stab the last one.
And when he hears that, all you hear is puns. And then
You've discovered his only weakness.
So, like, I roll a d20. Is this is stabbing? What's it based on?
oh, here, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
So you're surprising him, maybe. Anyone who might be surprised
Looks like muscles.
Okay.
must succeed on an eyes roll or be considered surprised. Okay, so his eyes are at 10. And you know what? We will say that since you have found his weakness, we'll put a complication on this. So we'll roll that. There's no modifier, so he's got a 19. So he sees right through this, but one complication will be a d6. Oh, hey, my little cursor. And that reduces it by 2. So he still has 17. So he succeeds in knowing that you're there. So he gets a chance to react this turn as well.
Okay.
So he's not caught completely flat-footed.
All right.
All right. So now let's figure out how combat works.
So I roll a muscles to stab with a knife. Yeah.
Okay.
I do not successfully stab him. I was so busy thinking of a really great pun that I just my heart wasn't in it.
Okay, what am I gonna say? That's it. No, something with knife.
I'll just take a stab at the best pun I can come up with.
There you go.
Be here all night, folks.
Where the hell did that go? I found social conflict. That was easy to find.
Yeah, I noticed there's social combat rules, which I'm very shocked by that I see in this game.
Yeah, you can actually intimidate people, and then they have complications and stuff.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah.
The combat rules seem to be right next to the guy with the flamethrower bagpipes.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Yes.
Um,
This is how you apocalypse.
Robert Schwalb saw Fury Road and was like, fuck it, I can do one better.
okay, maybe it's just scattered through here. Okay, so rolling dice, failure, attribute rolls, adjusting rolls. Right, yeah, I kind of remember what's going on here now. Alright, so you have to roll you said muscles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you are going against...
The defense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 3. I'm fairly certain I miss.
Yeah, his defense is 10. So you try and stab out, and like you said, your heart's just not in it. It was all put into the pun. So you miss him.
I should be punished.
It should have been social combat instead.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that would have actually worked in this case.
Yeah, I just looked, and it's muscles for throwing weapons, which I did not think it was. Which is so I'm sad.
Well, I mean, in this case, I think it makes sense to use your hands. It's your hand-eye coordination more so than muscles.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. So.
Well, let's
It
go with
says
that.
roll muscles or hands on page 37.
But then it says like in the description it says like
Use your hands
muscles.
bonus.
I'll use my hands bonus, which makes it a 12.
Cool. So yeah, you would hit him.
Okay, so those are knives or d6s, I believe. So
That's 5 damage.
Yeah.
Okay, so now how much health do these assholes have? Okay, so I need to figure out if there's anything else that gets put into play. Because like some games that I've played, you subtract your toughness bonus and subtract armor. These assholes are wearing rags, they don't have armor.
Is there like a dealing damage section?
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? If I had to have any criticism, it's the layout of the combat itself is kind of hacked up a little bit. Damage. Page 28. Alright, so damage applies whenever something or someone fucks you up. Whether you're burned, cut, shot, beaten, or suffering from some other kind of fuckery, you take damage. Most of the time, the source of the damage doesn't matter. Damage is damage. Some creatures have special blah 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 blah. The source of the damage determines how much you take. Damage can be a flat number, the sum of one or more dice, or a roll